I love technology. I'm learning so much every day. Hi, it's Honeybee Henderson, and I am live from the Beehive from Mexico. And I'm excited today to be joining in with our dear sister and sacred activist, plant based health coach, Khadija Dejani. Maybe this is her. No, not yet. So as soon as Khadija joins us, we're going to have a nice interview talking with her today about plant-based food and being a sacred activist and what that means for her. She has been a complete inspiration to me by how she has just changed her life. And let's see. I don't know where she is though, so let's wait for just a minute and then we might have to start again. I was having some technical difficulties, so we got bounced out. And let's see if that's one of these. Where are you, Khadija? Where are you? Wow, you guys, I'm having some technical difficulties, so thanks for your patience. Let's see, share. Let's not share. I think they should make this a little bit easier. Let's see if we can get her this way. Sorry, bear with me, please. Bear with us. And I guess I'll have to edit some of this out, or we'll just talk us. We're going to talk about plant-based food. So let me know also if you are moving towards a plant-based diet. I would love to know that and how that's going for you, because I am I'm a vegetarian of 12 years and am also a vegan in the last, just in this last year or so. The last thing I chose to release was the dairy. And for me, it's always been about it's always been about the animals, but for some of us, we have other reasons and health concerns. And there she is!
Yes!
We did
I
it!
had to restart. Hi.
Okay. Good
Just
morning, good evening.
hello,
Good
hello.
morning, good evening.
Hi.
We're
Just
having
trying
some
to.
awesome technical challenges on this side, so
Is it
no.
the Mexican side or the Jordanian third world? Both third world, I think. Or is
I
it not
think
kosher
both
to say third
first.
world?
I think it's pretty awesome to say that both places are pretty amazing places that the rest of the world needs to catch up to realize how many amazing human beings live in these parts of the world. Just my
Wow.
humble opinion.
That's so beautiful to say. That's so nice. I agree.
So welcome, welcome. So I wanted to
Thank you.
introduce, I was talking for a little bit before you joined, but we are joined today with my dear friend and sister, Khadija Dejani. And you have been a total inspiration to me with your fierce stance in becoming a plant-based health coach and educating people on their lifestyles and supporting people in all the ways that you do as a sacred activist. And I wanted to just introduce you to some people that I love also, and to share some of your knowledge. So welcome to Friday's
Thank you.
Live from the Beehive. I'm so happy to have you.
Wow, I feel like I'm on cable television news now. I'm like
You kind of
super,
are.
super famous. Cool. Too bad about the hair and makeup though, but yeah, that's
I wanted to just say that to people that are watching and who don't know Khadija, she's really been such an amazing. For me, I kind of always look to you for the research because we have very different approaches, but I think that they come together in the end, which is so beautiful. Like for me personally, becoming vegan was all about the animals. And I know that your introduction to being plant-based was mostly about the health and now has become about the animals. And mine is the opposite. I'm still into the super into protecting animals, but now I'm like, oh, it's actually good for your body too. It's so fascinating. But I always lean on you for the research because, well, you do it so well. So can you tell
Oh.
us a little bit about your journey in becoming plant-based and what it's been like for you and for your family?
Um, Let me just, it's just a coincidence, or there are no coincidences in life. But this morning I received by email a really nice blog that was talking about Patanjali's, uh, the 8 limbs of yoga. And it just offered a different insight into it. Usually, you know, we like to look at, or I like to look at things as very structured. Like you do step one and then you move on to step two, step three. And it just offered a different perspective on the whole idea of approaching the 8 limbs of yoga, in that you don't have to look at them in order. Like you don't have to go
Uh-huh.
through the stages, stage one, stage two. What if enlightenment comes first and then you go back? And now that
Uh-huh.
you were talking about how you get
That's so
into,
cool.
yeah, so it's just a different way of looking at it. And it really makes sense. It was almost an aha moment. So
I love that.
regardless of the reason why you go into this, eventually everything comes together. So,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whether you go into it for the animals, you go into it for health, you go into it for the earth, eventually
Right.
it all makes sense because you're in alignment. So whatever the reason is, it just, we all get to the same place, which is the beginning. We all come back to the beginning. So what was your question?
Why?
Sorry.
Why? I don't know, but let's get back to the beginning. Those were such
Yes.
wise words, and I'm so grateful. The question I had was tell me a little bit about what inspired you to shift your diet to plant-based, and if you can tell me your journey with the family, because a lot of people that I'm friends with have children, and that's a big question of how do I, as a mother, make a decision for myself and my body, and then also how do I extend that knowledge to my children? And what's your journey been like with your three beautiful, inspiring young girls, women,
So how
actually?
women, yeah, really. Um, in terms of what inspired me, I've always had an interest in the latest craziest fad because I have always suffered from weight issues, and I was always looking for answers. And I'm kind of radical in, like, I like you to tell me what to avoid, and I will ready to avoid it forever if that means I can be successful. So it started gradually for me. It started with me a few years ago, cutting dairy from my
Mm-hmm.
diet. And I think that really transformed my health for a few months, a year even. I just felt healthier. My skin was clearer. I felt better. There was no bloatedness. And then last year, I watched Forks Over Knives, and it really opened me up to the China study and all the science. It was just the beginning. I chose to dive into it even further and joined the Center for Nutrition Studies and got a certification in plant-based nutrition. And then the entire world opened up because I took classes on the environment, on you know, what we are doing to the environment, the science behind the effects of animal produce on the body. So it really all came together, and it was like,
Mm-hmm.
it was so organic and natural.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the kids,
But wait, let me just
I
ask you. So
yeah.
organic and natural. So then it sounds like it was easier for you to make the transition than it is for some to just say, okay, so this is what feels good in my body and this makes sense in my head. And so this is the journey I'm going to go on.
Yes, and I think, and I still struggle with this because I assume that everybody is like that. So when someone tells me it's very hard for me to quit dairy, I'm thinking, well, if you want to quit it, you're going to quit it. If you don't want, then you don't want. So this is my personality. If I'm convinced of something, I will do it. So once I
Mm-hmm.
commit to something, I will do it. So that's why it was just a, a fact, unequivocal truth that it is better for your health. So once you
Okay.
have that, once you feel you're confident that this is the way to go, then there's no question about you sticking to it. And I
Mm-hmm.
read a quote recently that was really profound. It said, what you do most of the time is much more important and effective than what you do some of the time. So this whole idea of moderation, and it doesn't apply really. I'm sure we're gonna lose so many members of your audience now. But
And they're like, I'm out of here. So
whatever.
tell me about the kids, because these three children are I love these girls so much, and they're women. They're young women and adults, and have called you funny things, and
They
tell me
still
about
do.
your experience
So let me tell you,
with this.
I'm going to take advantage of the fact that they're not watching, and I'll tell you a few things.
There is replay, just to let you know. Replay. Be
Oh
careful.
damn! I have to. I have to.
No.
So the girls we don't offer. So we're plant-based at home. So there's nothing offered. Like there's no eggs, milk, or anything in the house. Does it mean they like it? No. My eldest, by choice, watched Forks Over Knives and What the Health, and decided that that's it. It felt right to her, and she's been following this. My middle and little one complain constantly that they're deprived and they miss burgers, and their mother is insane, but they love it. And I think that's why I would just want to take advantage of the fact that they're not on now. They actually feel the health benefits, and they don't feel very good when they're off, and they indulge and they don't feel good in their body. So I read somewhere that it's okay to follow the 80-20 rule, whereby 80% of your diet is plant-based, 20% is animal-based, and I think that seems to be working okay with them. I think eventually they will make the shift. That's it. And I don't offer this at home. I don't offer this to my guests. I've been asked if I had any friends left, because when we have people over, it's all whole plant-based. I have a few friends who stuck by me. Yeah, they're dwindling, but I still have a few.
It's also interesting because you're in in a region of the world where mansaf is known as one of the delicacies, and it's a heavily meat-based diet in the Middle East. And so what is that like for you when you go to restaurants, or do you not? And okay, I know your friends, because I've been involved in this experience with you, kind of side by side. But what's that like for you when you have these friends that are like, where's the meat? That you put out a big spread of food for them, and it's amazing, delicious food made from the heart. And then they're like, yeah, but where's the food? Where's the meat?
Where's the food? Yeah, this is the appetizer. Where's the food? It seems like my body, I think naturally, I never liked meat. So as a kid, I was vegetarian. I never liked meat. And it was odd, and it was uncomfortable in family situation. I come from a traditional Jordanian town in the south, and their traditional dish is mansaf, and it's very awkward when I go, when I visit.
And
I'm sitting there
is
and
what
eating.
for some of the
Mansaf
is for some of the Western folks that don't know.
So it's served. It's actually a beautiful culture, more cultural than food, where people get together around this big tray of rice that is covered with huge pieces of lamb. When you go to like the traditional mansaf, you have the head of the sheep on at the very top, and it's covered in nuts. And there's I think they make some kind of yogurt thing, whatever that's called jamid, which is traditional dried yogurt. Very salty, and then they dilute it with water and they serve. So it was never my favorite dish, and so I don't know if you can call me a true Jordanian, because it's not really my thing. I know for a fact that this is the reason why heart disease in Jordan is, I suspect, is really rampant. It's because of what we eat.
Yeah, I would say this is accurate, and you're seeing this in many of the films. I'm so excited. Also, I have a conversation later this week with my good friend Darshana, who was very involved with Forks Over Knives, and we're going to be bringing her over in November to do a screening in Jordan, to do some more discussion on plant-based diet. And so that brings me to my next curious point, is what are the changes that you're seeing in Jordan specifically? Because we started a potluck dinner in December, you and me and Iman, and to have an educational time. And we had 35 people show up to our first dinner. And now on Facebook, we have a group of that has grown to 350 people. So, and most of these people are new to plant-based diets. I'm so excited to see this growing, even in a place where it feels like meat is quote unquote king, where people are really curious about their health. And what are you seeing in the Jordanian community and the shifts and the curiosities, as you've been kind of one of the um, first out of the gate with this?
So I was very, very happy when we had our little event, because I think we had a few converts then who came in without
Yeah.
any notion or any expectation about what was going to happen. They just thought they were going to come in and have salad, and then they left with, you know, something that a seed, shall we say, a seed, or something that changed their perspective. I think some of them have actually stuck to it, and I'm still in touch with a few who send me pictures of their food, which is really nice. I think this is a worldwide movement. I don't think it's only in Jordan. I think this is a worldwide shift, and I think this community of plant-based followers is growing. I was at a dinner last night, and as we were walking out, you know, I stopped to speak to a couple who told me that they watched What the Health and that they were now 80%, like they can't give up eggs, but they're working on it, and they were fascinated. So it's good. I mean, if you think the dinner had 30 people, 2 people came up to me and said, you know, we're thinking about this. It's really good. I think it's really growing, and there's a lot of interest. I don't think meat is king here. I think what is king is dairy.
Okay.
We're relatively more vegetable, plant-based, but I think the dairy plays a big part in our diet. So I
So
think the issue is dairy.
tell me on that, because the dairy was you really helped me clear out the dairy from my diet, because I kept saying
Militantly helped you.
But there's something really true about addiction to dairy. And can you tell me about that from a scientific perspective, and what you've read and what you know about that, because it is true.
Apparently, studies with it. I can't give you now the exact study or the references, but I know studies have been done that showed that there is a part of the brain that lights up in response to dairy, and it's the same part that lights up in response to any other addiction. So it's the same center in the brain. So it is an addiction that we have toward dairy, and dairy is in everything when you think about it. So it's these little addictions that we're not aware of that we're actually forcing our bodies to deal with. But sorry, I didn't do the research on this particularly. I should have been better prepared.
I know that it's a hormone that gets released. It's the same hormone that gets released when shooting up heroin. And when I read this, I was like, whoa, okay. So my next question is, what would you say to people? Because we just finished we're just finishing in the last days of this 21-day plant-based cleanse. And there's a lot of people that are hooked into their habits. So what guidance would you give, or what suggestions would you give to people who have these habits of eating a certain way and are struggling with releasing them? What guidance would you give?
I would say, and it's something I'm still working on, because I understand that people are different. Not everybody can give up something on the spot. I would say, look at the state of your health or the state of your life, and just really look at it objectively and ask yourself, am I in a good place? Is this where I want to be? If there is something that is not serving you and not making you feel good, then it's something you need to look at and realize that it is in your hands what you decide to do. You are the only person who is going to make that change. Nobody's going to make it for you. It's not going to come in a pill. It's not going to come from anybody from outside. It's you. You have to make this decision. So if you are not willing to take a step toward improving or addressing an issue that is bothering you, who's going to do it for you? You know, it's not going to come in a pill, and it's not something that, and I think I think it's human nature to look for quick fixes. And I think people get frustrated if really, I mean, I'm one of those. I'd like the transformation to happen in 24 hours, but it's not going to be that. But there are some there are some amazing success stories that are really inspirational. I mean, the other day I was speaking to a friend who had her blood tested, I think last year in July. She has been plant-based for a year. Her cholesterol level was 198 in July. She just got tested 2 days ago, and her cholesterol is down to 134. And they say
Wow.
that if you're they say that if your cholesterol is anywhere under 140, you have a 0% chance of developing heart disease. Zero.
Wow.
How
Wow.
unbelievable is this? And what more
That's incredible.
inspiration do we need? I
Yeah,
think
that's incredible.
most of the people I know have issues with cholesterol. Most of the people I
Yeah.
speak with have issues with cholesterol. So that's something, I mean, you look at others and think, wow, I know this for a fact. I have been exposed to this for a fact. Now it's up to me to decide whether I take the initiative or I don't. And
Yeah.
it's not, I think the decision is so big and huge, but once you take it, everything opens up. Same like
I
everything else. It's the
agree.
fear and everything that overwhelms you and stops you from taking action.
You know,
But once you acknowledge it, then
yeah.
it's,
It's so funny because I'm in the land that's based with dairy. It's like to get, I mean, you can do it. Obviously, you can. I cook a lot at home, but this Mexican food is what I grew up with, which is interesting
cheese
to
and
come
sour
back
cream.
now.
Yeah.
Cheese and dairy and and meat here a lot, and it's just funny to now be beyond the addiction of the cheese that I was so afraid to let go of, and
Do you
now be in
crave
this
it?
place. Not at all. Not at
See,
all.
yeah.
And sometimes on accident I have, like, or maybe not on accident, maybe by choice. Sometimes I'll have, but it's something that Iman said during our meeting, which I found really profound, which she said, vegan is a lifestyle. Being vegan is a lifestyle. And it's to be compassionate to all sentient beings, including humans, including yourself. So
Yeah.
if sometimes you're out and you happen to have a piece of cake because you're at a dinner party or something, and you just feel like this is something that you want to partake in, the most important thing is not to beat yourself up over it. So I found that to be really great for me. Although I don't have any addiction, my body feels amazing. I'm eliminating like the best in my life, which is so
Oh
important.
yeah.
From an
Yeah.
Ayurvedic perspective, it's all about eat, digest, eliminate, eat, digest, eliminate,
I
and
mean, you have to remember that
um,
there's zero fiber in animal products. Zero. All
yeah,
cholesterol and zero fiber. And now you're
yeah.
getting everything you're eating has fiber.
So one question I have for you is and maybe this will be kind of our wrap up, is a lot of people who come to me who question my diet, being plant-based, say, well, but I don't know how to get protein. And when I eat only plants, I'd have low energy. So is there something that you can speak to about that? I know that you follow Rich Roll and some other really key people in this realm, and I just don't have the science to back it, but can you speak to that a little bit?
So I think one of the misconceptions is when we say protein, we immediately think of animal, and that's a misconception because you can get your protein from anything. This is one. Two, I think we
Anything
have
meaning what? Protein from
beans,
anything? Okay.
legumes, nuts, even spinach has protein. Everything has protein. So this
Mm-hmm.
obsession with associating protein and using protein and animal interchangeably, I think, is just a misconception. Secondly, unless there's an area of the world that has famine, there have been zero reported cases of protein deficiency. Zero, which means
Mm.
we are a people that is obsessed with protein. And I think we have been fed that for a number of reasons. And I don't know if you believe in conspiracy theories or what have you, but I think we have been conditioned to believe. And actually, one of the questions I got last night from this woman who's deciding to be plant-based was, but how will I get my abs if I don't eat eggs? And for me,
Oh, I've never heard
this
that
is
before.
this yeah, I heard that. This epitomizes,
Do
like,
your
I'm not
sit-ups, girl.
yes, I said, listen, I have fat on my body, so my muscles are never going to show. But for her, she's skinny. I said, when you work out, they're going to show. You don't need eggs to get them to show. So this is the other thing.
Wow.
The problem with people and energy is that you have to remember plants are not they are nutritionally dense, but they're not calorie dense. So people always forget that 500 calories of meat is very little versus 500 calories of spinach, which is a lot. So people are usually calorie deficient in their intake. And this is what happens when it comes to energy. So once you just
Okay.
calibrate and understand that, okay, if my calorie intake every day has to be 2,000 calories of plant, it's going to be the amount of food you're eating is going to be so much more than what you would normally eat if it was a piece of cheese or a piece of meat, you know. So this is what happens with most people, and this is why some people end up developing deficiencies in vitamin and mineral deficiency, simply because they're not having enough, they're not eating enough calories. That's what it is. And honestly, I don't sit and think about, oh, am I having enough calcium? Am I having enough zinc in my food? I don't think about that. I look at food as color and variety, and I definitely
I
eat
love
enough,
that.
and I have no issues with with deficiencies. But really, this is it. We shouldn't be too obsessed about everything and too
Counting.
calculating. And somebody like Rich Roll, who's an endurance athlete who races ultra Ironman marathons and survives on plant foods and has an avocado sandwich mid-race, should teach us a lot, you know?
Yeah, that's great. Well, my love, I'm so happy to get to connect with you. We are
Thank you.
just about out of time. Is there anything you want to finish with, or anything you want to share with our
Um,
people?
No, I'm just so happy that there are a few people watching, so that means a lot to me. And if at all this is of any interest to you, I am so happy to answer any questions. So please reach out.
Yeah.
And I think for us in the Middle East, Ramadan is coming up in a few days' time,
Yes.
and I think this is a great opportunity for people to think about maybe restarting and rebooting. So this would be a great time to consider a switch in diet. And actually, this
Great.
is when I made the switch. It was Ramadan when I made the
Okay.
switch.
Wow.
So I think this is a great
Wow.
opportunity for people in our part of the world to consider. And if they do, I'm happy to help.
Ah, that's great, great. Because what I noticed when I was there for Ramadan is that when everybody fasts during the day, and then at night it's like this crazy
Feast.
blowout feast at iftar, but it's like sugars and just the stuffing of the face, and it feels like it's sort of not really the real,
It's
you know,
not.
it's like it can
It's
be
not.
done a little bit with more awareness and more
Yeah, and funnily,
sensitivity to the
I'm looking.
body.
Yes, and I'm looking to beyond the Middle East to learn about fasting, which is interesting. But it's okay. There is science now is showing how incredible to the body fasting is, intermittent fasting,
Uh-huh.
and I think if we do it the right way, people are going to be energetic. They're going to be able to make
Mm,
a shift that is completely sustainable because they're
mm-hmm,
fasting this month. So
mm-hmm,
it's really worth looking at. It's really worth looking at and
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
considering. And I'm happy to help
Well,
if anybody's
great.
interested.
I have so many more questions for you, so maybe we'll do another interview. I want to know what your thoughts are on this keto diet. I want to know what your thoughts are on all of this. So you're my research
Yeah.
queen. So
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I would love it. Would love it. This is so fun.
great, great.
Happy, but give me some warning if you need me to use big scientific words, so I can look them up and have them here, so I can be able to pronounce them.
Okay, my love. Thank you for
Yeah.
joining. And if
Thanks
you have
so
any
much.
questions, please post them below. And we'll put Khadija's link. She's an amazing writer and is um, posting a new blog every week. So I want to just support her and all the good work that you're doing in your life and for all of us in the world. I love you and I thank you.
Thank
And
you. Thank you. Thank
happy
you. Thank you so much.
Ramadan.
Thanks.
Bye. See you soon.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye,
Bye
honey.
bye.